Welcome to Strictly Business. I'm Randy Gordon, President and CEO of the Long Beach Area Chamber of Commerce. For those of you who've watched the show before, you've seen me interview small business owners to CEOs of large companies, talking to them about doing business in Long Beach, its challenges and its opportunities. I'm very excited that we have a CEO of a new newspaper. He's the publisher of the new Long Beach Register. His name is Ian Lamont as our guest. So stay with us. We're going to tell you more about this exciting newspaper. Welcome back to Strictly Business. I'm Randy Gordon. I'm here with Ian Lamont, the publisher of the new newspaper, the Long Beach Register. On August 19th, the Long Beach Register was launched. Now, this was launched here, Ian, and bottom line is newspapers around the country are shrinking, but yet the Orange County Register is growing in size and new sections, and all of a sudden, here's the Long Beach Register. So what's going on here?
Well, it's a great question, Randy, and here's why. Let me take you back to July 2012. You're right. Print journalism, newspapers are shrinking, media properties are laying off really talented people. And at that same time, though, along comes Eric Spitz and Aaron Kushner. And they buy Freedom Communications, whose flagship paper is the Orange County Register and a number of other community newspapers. And they had quite the radical idea. Their idea was to do exactly the opposite of what everybody else was doing. They were going to invest in print journalism, and over the last 12 months, they've kept their word. They've hired more than 350 people down at the Orange County Register, increased the Orange County Register content by more than 70%, and it's not just the Orange County Register they've invested in, it's their community papers too, where they've doubled the content and added more people there too.
So on August 19th, you guys got a lot of fanfare. And this new daily, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, really kicked off with a bang. Was it what you thought it was going to be? How did you guys react to all this publicity?
Well, the publicity was really just tremendous. At last count, it was more than 80 papers, including the Wall Street Journal and USA Today, MSNBC on the broadcast side, CNN, and even The Guardian in Great Britain covered this launch because it's a historic launch. It's the first major metropolitan area to get a newspaper since World War II. So while we concentrated on the Long Beach community and the communities we serve with the launch, a lot of people were also concentrating on us. And it was fabulous, the coverage.
Well, for those of us who live in Long Beach, you know, for us, we never get too much coverage for Long Beach. And we live in here, we work here, we love Long Beach. There's no such thing as too much local coverage. So after that first issue, what kind of stories did you decide to do going in or even after that first issue 2 weeks ago as we tape this today? What do you think about that first issue? Where you go from there?
Well, our owners and the 1,100 people in the company are all very passionate about print journalism. And going in, we had more time than normal. Normally, when you're publishing a daily newspaper, you may be thinking a few days out, but you're really thinking mostly about getting tomorrow's paper out. In this case, we had a little more time with the launch publication on August 19th. And we decided to concentrate on both the future of Long Beach. We spent a lot of stories in our content looking at that by looking at the actions of today and their impact 5 and 10 years out. But we also looked back at Long Beach. The middle of the paper had a 2-page spread on the past 100 years, the historical events of Long Beach. So it was both a historical publication in the launch of that day, but it also was very much a historical publication looking at Long Beach's past and future.
You know, you've been on board in their third week now. Looking forward, what kind of focus areas are you looking at, you know, whether it's sports or arts or business? Kind of give me some of those focus areas.
Well, the owners believe in providing great value and essential content. They believe in investing in the communities they serve And if they do their jobs well and we do our jobs well, the paper we publish will be supported by the community. In our case at the Long Beach Register, we only have to concentrate on local news, local sports, events, the issues that are surrounding our community. We don't have to spend our resources on anything but that. So we're able to really tell a lot of great stories about the people who live in our communities, the kids and what they're accomplishing at our schools. The Register's a two-section newspaper, main news and then what we call LB Varsity, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute.
So, for example, this news section is pretty much 100% local because it's wrapped around the Orange County Register. You'll talk about that in a little bit, but basically, it doesn't. I don't have to read about world news in this section. I'm going to pretty much read 100% local stuff, right?
In the two sections that the Long Beach Register is the main news, and by that, again, I have the coverage of our local news, a lot of photos, a lot of people's names that all of us know. It'll have opinion, it'll have the events, it'll have a community calendar. So it's all local in the communities we serve, which are Long Beach, Signal Hills, Cerritos, Artesia, and Lakewood. And all that content will be specifically geared towards those communities. The second section is called LB Varsity. And most days that'll be a sports section concentrating, again, local sports and our local colleges. That's it, just our local prep sports, even our T-ballers and our Little Leaguers. On one day a week, it'll be LB Arts, concentrating on the other extracurricular activities at school, music, chorus, band. The other kids who don't get very much coverage at times will get a tremendous amount of coverage.
I can just see all these happy parents how many parents are going to see their kids' photos or read about their team, because that kind of coverage might not have been possible before, but now it's possible because this whole section is just local. So obviously people are going to be very happy, and a lot of parents. You know, let me ask you this question. You know, launching a new newspaper is a major undertaking, not just the financial undertaking, but the logistical undertaking. Sort of take our viewers behind the scenes now to tell us when this started and all the logistical work it took behind the scenes to launch that first issue.
Well, it takes a great deal of financial commitment by our owners, by Eric and Aaron. And it takes a great deal of their passion, which is just as important. But at the company, the Freedom Company and the Orange County Register and the 1,100 folks, there are so many great, talented, and experienced folks. This hire of 350 people this past year, a lot of companies were letting go very, very talented folks. So not only did the company already have good talent, they added additional talent. So the launching of a daily newspaper is a pretty daunting task, but with all this talent, it wasn't as difficult as it might have been at any other company. But I came on board at the end of June. So that's basically when the public announcement was made, even though it was certainly in the planning stages long before that. But in those 7 weeks, thanks to all these great people, we were able to put every facet of a newspaper together, from masthead all the way through to office, the hiring of 20 people, and launch on August 19th. It was a fascinating experience.
You know, I have not added it up, but in any given Long Beach Register, Monday through Friday, how many different reporters might report in one day in that paper? I know I see a lot of their pictures, so like 4, 5, 6, 8.
No, our staff is 20 here in Long Beach. We have our offices right basically in the center of the communities we serve. We're over by Long Beach Airport. About 2/3 of those people are content, newsroom folks, and the other third are sales. And that's our entire staff here in Long Beach. 20 people just in Long Beach is a significant commitment. But we're also backed up by all the talent down in Santa Ana where the Orange County Register is. So the papers that we publish are significant. Our Monday, Tuesday paper will average about 10 sections, between the Long Beach Register and then inside the Orange County Register. That's the same size as the New York Times, the LA Times is on Sunday. So the value that our subscribers will be getting is tremendous.
Well, your Orange County Register was a pretty thick newspaper anyway, because it was growing by sections, and then now 5 days a week you wrap around a couple more sections, and it becomes a pretty healthy paper, because I have it in my driveway, so I can tell you that what its weight is. It's a heavy paper. Let's go back to when you first started. There was a lot of print, broadcast media that was really playing up this new daily newspaper that was going to be at war with the press telegram and competition. How do you see that?
When Eric and Aaron get interviewed, they're constantly asked about being print-centric. And they will both respond the same way. They're not print-centric. The company's not print-centric. We're reader-centric. So our focus has always been on the content that we've been publishing. We want to make sure it's essential to our readers. We want to make sure it's highly valued. We want to make sure that it is something that can impact their lives positively just because of the knowledge. So that has been our focus. We've focused on strictly what we can control, and that's the publishing of our daily newspaper. In terms of a newspaper war, our readers don't care. They just want a good newspaper that they can enjoy when they have time, or on a busy day they can get through, see some valued content, and maybe come back to in the evening. But from our standpoint, it's just a matter of taking care of our business.
Let me ask you about these two newspapers, and you kind of describe to our viewers, it's two newspapers in one, and you might want to show them sort of physically with your props here. What are we getting together here? Explain that.
Yeah, the main section of what is the Long Beach Register is generally about 20 pages, and there will be a number of compelling stories in here. Again, every story will be a local story, a Long Beach story. Of the 20 people who we hired, many of them have worked at Long Beach Media. Many of them live in Long Beach. We know the market very well. So this paper will reflect that knowledge and that experience. And then the second section at times will be a varsity section that will feature many of our high schools. But in terms of the full paper, I mean, this is what's going to land on your driveway most days. It's about 10 to 12 sections, and that's during the week.
We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what's important for a community newspaper to print. So stay with us.
With Charter, TV will never be the same. Now you can make a date with your favorite movies and shows anywhere and anytime with on-the-go content from Charter.
Since 1921, the Long Beach Lions Club have been crusading to help the vision health of every person by providing care and supplies to eye clinics all over Long Beach, including the American Red Cross in times of crisis. Become a Long Beach Lion and make a difference every day in our community. For more information on how you can help, contact the Long Beach Lions Club today.
Are you prepared in case of a natural disaster? Are basic necessities readily available from your home in case of no electricity or running water for days at a time? Preparation is the best defense against natural disasters. For more information and tips on how to prepare, contact your local Long Beach Red Cross.
I want to improve my career opportunities.
I want to earn a higher salary at my job.
I'd like to finish what I've started.
The new Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Arts degree completion program at Cal State Long Beach will help you achieve your educational goals while keeping your life in balance. Contact our customer service center at 1-800-963-2250 for more information, or visit us on the web. Let CSULB help you finish what you started.
Welcome back to Strictly Business. I'm Randy Gordon. I'm here with Ian Lamont, the publisher of the new daily newspaper, the Long Beach Register. And what do you believe is some of the key ingredients that a community newspaper like the Long Beach Register needs to print about our community?
Well, they really need, in our case, we're going to concentrate on valuable content that impacts our subscribers' lives, content that they enjoy reading at times, and then content that shows that we're also watching out in terms of government performance, local, even government performance in D.C. I talked about the investments that Eric and Aaron have made in the past year. One of them has been to open up a bureau in Washington, D.C. When newspapers are shutting down bureaus, they're opening it up because they know what's going on in D.C. impacts our communities and our residents.
So a lot of local stuff, from politics to City Hall to business to the nonprofit community to arts and entertainment. I think, Long Beach is really blessed to have a lot of big nonprofits in our community. And I know you guys have done a nice job with some of the nonprofit coverage so far. So thank you for that. Let's talk about the goals in the first year. Obviously, it may be difficult to turn a profit in the first year because obviously you got the investment, but talk about some of the goals, whether it's circulation goals, our readership goals. What are some of the goals?
Well, certainly the goal is that it's good business. That's why Eric and Aaron are doing what they are doing. And all of us in the company look at print journalism as good business. Newspapers still command a significant market share, and a market share attracts advertisers. But that's the business side. What we're really after is to create a base in Long Beach and the other communities we cover that readers are going to want to enjoy. They're going to want to subscribe to the paper. First of all, we've got to do our job to give them the reason. And once we give them that reason, we hope they will then see the value and subscribe.
Let's talk about newspapers shrinking, obviously, around the country. And the trend is that many of them are going more digital, and some of them are charging for online viewing. There's a lot of younger people, including some of my staff, that don't read a hard newspaper anymore. They read it online when they get up in the morning. I guess I'm too old, but I like my newspaper over my coffee and breakfast, and I like to be able to touch and feel and look at it and see how it looks. But digital, obviously you can't ignore digital. It's important. So tell us about the digital side of your paper.
Well, the Orange County Register has a very strong digital side, the OCR register.com. And we will have lbregister.com launched probably within 30 to 45 days. You're right, it's an important element of the paper. I mentioned earlier that our owners weren't print-centric, they were reader-centric. So from the standpoint of publishing great content, which is our commodity, it doesn't matter to the reader whether they get that online or they get that in print. But the important thing is, since content is our commodity, that the reader, the subscriber, will pay the same price, whether it's in print or on the digital side. Newspapers have hurt themselves by overinvesting on the digital side, reducing the assets on the print side, and when in reality the revenue on the digital side has only been a very small percentage. The owners, our owners, see it as in the right percentage, and that's the way they invest in it.
Well, I admire them for bucking the curve, so to speak, and maybe they know something that others don't, but It's really amazing their drive to increase their sections and increase the size of the newspaper, when many years ago there were people who were predicting the newspapers would be no longer in print. I think those predictions were way off base, and I think that there's so many of us, baby boomers maybe, that just will continue to read the paper and print for the rest of our lives. I don't know about my grandkids, maybe they'll be reading it online, but maybe we're just not there yet. I think a lot of people felt that we'd be there, right?
Well, I think that's exactly what you know, Aaron and Eric see, is that there is a significant generation, the baby boomers, who are newspaper readers. And there's a significant generation behind them who will value great content. And even as we go down into younger generations, the same thing, they value good content. Now, good content, though, you know, from the standpoint of local community, is going to be generated exactly in that market, and that generation is what's going to be available. It's not going to be available someplace else. You can get world and national news in lots of places. You can't get Long Beach news. And it's one of the reasons why our owners invested in Long Beach. They saw the 7th largest city in the state of California being underserved by media, in fact, being not served at all. None of their issues were being covered. They weren't getting any media coverage. Long Beach, in any other state or any other part of California, probably not only has a very vibrant newspaper, but it has TV and radio also. So seeing a market of this size was the reason our owners felt that Long Beach deserved a daily newspaper that covered their issues.
You mentioned earlier that you had Long Beach offices, you've moved to Long Beach, your offices, and you have quite a few journalists there. Do you want to kind of go through, we're going to put them up on the screen for you a little bit later on, but you want to kind of walk us through like some of the key people whose pictures show up almost every day in the Register?
Yeah, our editor is Paul Akins. And Paul has extensive experience with the other paper in town, and served as one of their top editors, but came to the Orange County Register before this paper was announced, but certainly somebody who knows Long Beach very well. We also have a community engagement editor in Susan Jacobs, again, somebody who knows Long Beach, has lived in Long Beach, and has worked at the Orange County Register before she went to teach journalism, but now she's back as an editor. Bob Kaiser, our readers know Bob for many, many years in Long Beach, and even in the 2 weeks that we have been publishing, people who've picked up the Long Beach Register had seen great features on our local high schools. They saw a wonderful story on our back-to-back World Championship Little Leaguers from 1992, 1993, and what they're doing today, 20 years later. That's Bob Kaiser and his team. So there are a number of other really key folks who know this market, from City Hall to the port to a revitalized airport. And even on the opinion side, the Long Beach Register will have an editorial board that will come out with opinions not only on local issues, but also on races that are coming up, including the mayor's race.
So here we are, we're about 3 weeks into the Long Beach Register. Just tell us kind of what the reaction's been from the print media to the other media to the residents. What are people saying about the Long Beach Register?
Well, on August 19th, when we did launch, Eric Spitz, one of our owners, and myself and many other top executives in the company were delivering editions of the inaugural Long Beach Register to our top community leaders. Basically, all the mayors got a delivery of the paper, a lot of the top executives, a lot of the top city leaders, and the response was very positive and very appreciative, and in fact, at times, it was gushing. And that night we had a very informal celebration and over at the Naples Rib Company, and we had an overflow crowd of people who'd already been impacted by just that one days, and were very welcoming. So the community reception could not have been better.
Ian, some of our viewers may remember you as the publisher of that other Long Beach paper from 2001 to 2004. Tell us a little bit about your background, maybe before that and after that.
Yeah, that was my introduction to Long Beach, and except for about 9 months, my wife and I have lived there ever since. I've been surprised a little bit by some folks who've come up and said, welcome back to Long Beach, but we've lived here virtually since 2001. And I've had the good fortune, Randy, to now be the publisher of 5 different newspapers over the last 22 years. And it is one of the really just terrific jobs you can have. And it kind of, I think Yogi Berra was right, and he said it's deja vu all over again. For me, certainly, to be a publisher of a Long Beach daily again, something I never thought would ever happen.
You heard it from Yogi Berra. So, Ian, what do you think the future holds for print? We just kind of mentioned that earlier, but let's drill down a little bit more about that. What's the future hold for print media?
Well, let me tell you, besides what we've already talked about, what we're going to publish and the quality of our content being local and essential to our subscribers will get the Long Beach Register. Inside of that, they'll get the Orange County Register that'll cover all their other news needs. They also get full access to the digital side that'll include now the Orange County Register, but soon the lbregister.com. And they get a fourth thing. Our company believes in engagement programs. So all subscribers will get what we call Register Connect. And it is a program that gives them access to Angel tickets, Galaxy tickets, Duck tickets. It gives them discounts to Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm. We believe for their investment in us, besides getting a great daily newspaper that's full of this great content, they get other opportunities. And the digital side and the Register Connect program are 2 of those.
We have about a minute left here. Tell us in this last minute, Ian, this is a significant investment in Long Beach. What do you really expect the readers or the people in Long Beach to give back to you?
Well, we first have to prove our worth to them. And I think we're doing that. If 2 weeks may not be enough of a time frame, but we're going to continue to do what we've been doing. In turn, we would like them to invest in us in terms of subscriptions. Our owners think that newspapers bring communities together. They unite communities. And that's something very, very important. And in turn, we would hope that our subscribers will then engage with us through guest columns, story ideas, letters to the editor, because in the end, it's really about them taking ownership of the newspaper and basically helping us shape the content they want to see in it. And that would be the primary thing, would be with us investing in the community, bringing jobs that they invest in us at $1 a day.
Now, if somebody's watching the show and they want to subscribe to the Register, Long Beach Register, can you give us a phone number, and we may have it on the screen, but can you give us a phone number or website right now?
Yeah, probably the best way would be, they could certainly call me at 562-810-6702, and I would take very good care of them. Or they could go online to lbrsubscribe.com/special offer. lbrsubscribe.com/special offer.
And give that phone number one more time.
My phone number is 562-810-6702.
Thank you, Ian Lamont, publisher of the Long Beach Register, for being on our show. And we thank you for watching, and we hope you'll join us again soon on Strictly Business. Good night.